What's good, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome back to Kingdom Connects, as we are going to be diving more into James Bradberry, as the New York Giants did finally release him today, and see if it's still a possibility of him joining the Kansas City Chiefs now that he's in the open market, and if the Chiefs want to test the waters. But before we do dive into this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I'm going to keep you up to date on the latest Kansas City Chiefs news and rumors that you do not want to miss out on. Without further ado, let's dive into James Bradberry. And now I want to say this is probably like my third video of James Bradberry, because before the draft and going into the draft, there was rumors that Kansas City was interested in trading for James Bradberry, and of course they did not agree to a deal, which led upon to James Bradberry's release. The reason a trade didn't come to fruition was mostly because of James Bradberry's contract. Now, there are rumors and reports that the Texans actually did agree to a trade with the Giants on exact trade compensation, but they couldn't get a reworked deal that they would agree with Bradberry, so that just basically fell through, and that's where we are today. They didn't mention what kind of capital that they gave up. I would have to assume it would have been something low, like I think lower than a fourth, because Bradberry's contract was heavy, as we all know. I think it would have been 11 to 12 million dollar range, maybe even 13. I know the hit on the Giants would have been 13, but I don't know what the team taking on the contract would have took on. I wanted to say it was like 11 or 10. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments down below, or I'll have something on the screen to correct and make sure everything is right. But now that we're here, he's released. He's able to check in with any teams. Should KC still be interested? And I think the easy answer is yes. I know there's going to be people saying, well, the Chiefs, they're drafted 3 cornerbacks. Why would they need to go in that route? Even though they drafted 3 cornerbacks, there's not a legit veteran presence. I think your oldest cornerbacks, or your ones with the most experience, is going to be between Snead and Fenton. So, and they're both great cornerbacks too, but then we also got reports onto why Kansas City was so heavily invested in the cornerbacks, even though they should have been in the first place. But we get reports that Fenton actually has a shoulder injury, and he should be coming back by the time training camp starts, but nothing's guaranteed too. So he could be a potential PUP candidate and miss the first 6 weeks of the season, which is huge. But also with Fenton even healthy, I think you need that veteran experience there. And Bradberry, even at his age of 28, still has lockdown capability, still has #1 cornerback capability too. And if you pair him on the other side with a Trent McDuffie, and you put L'Jarius Sneed in the position where he excels, and he does do good at outside corner, but in slot, he was nearly unstoppable. No one could do anything against him in his rookie year. If you put him back to his spot, I think that would be great to see. And then also too, you can incorporate the safeties, because that would be one of the, like, Casey's cornerbacks was one of their weaknesses, and now they could be one of their strong focal points if Bradberry comes in. Now, how likely do I think it happens? It just depends on what James Bradberry really wants. Now, if he wants to be on a playoff contention team, and KC could still pay him good money, I think KC is your #1 answer too. But there's also reports on teams like the Raiders, Seahawks, and Eagles that could be interested. And they can all, I think besides, I don't know, Seattle's cap space like that, they can all offer him good money. But the only one who can also offer him good playoff contentions might be the Raiders and Eagles. It just depends. And again, we don't know what happens. We're just speculating off of last year on how good a team can be. But if anyone can offer him a Super Bowl chance, I just think it's going to be Kansas City. And I think he would get an instant restart and refresh to his career, because he kind of took, not backwards, but he sat back to what his production was the prior years. He was still a good cornerback, but he wasn't that lockdown cornerback. He was able to still give up receptions. He was, I don't know how you really want to phrase it. He just gave up a lot more than what he usually does. So it's going to be interesting to see, was that mostly Bradberry, or was that the New York Giants defense? Because the New York Giants defense, even though the Giants as a whole wasn't good last year, their defense did step up and kept them in a lot of games, which is kind of actually surprising. But they had some big playmakers on there, and Bradberry was one of them. Also too, with the new scenery, what kind of deal would he want? Do you go with a 1-year deal, or do you go with a 2-year deal and just take your biggest bang for your buck, basically? I think it would be a 1-year deal, but also too, I would be interested to see if KC does like a 2-year deal. I know KC doesn't tend to do 2-year deals on like aging veterans, but it also too helps, like, let's say you give Bradberry 2 years, $22 million. The first year can be a lesser hit on the cap. Also too, if he wants to prove himself, he's going to take that 1-year deal, and I think that favors in Kansas City's aspect too, because that means he might want a championship. He might want to prove himself on a D that tends to struggle. We all know they struggle a lot, but also too, they got high potential and high upside. They got a lot of young name players where they can flip the script real easily, like the likes of a George Karlaftis now on the pass rusher with Chris Jones, and then you got Frank Clark. Interesting front line now, and then you got your linebacking core, which looks solid with Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, and then Leo Chanel, and then your secondary. Definitely, if you add a James Bradberry, this might be the best defense in the Mahomes era. I'm gonna knock on wood because I really hope that's the case, but you just never know too, because another thing, and I know Chiefs Kingdom is so used to seeing too, and I hope this is like the first year we don't see like this learning curve, because that's how it always is. It seems like besides last year, even though last year they did start off right, but the offense still kind of sputtered here and there. The offense usually like full fire, power, go. They always like September and October get it going, and then the defense in September and October is like, what the hell are you guys doing? It's like they're never ready to play when September and October shows up, and then at the end of October and November, that's when the defense starts clicking. I'm hoping that this new defense doesn't go through that same learning curve, but with Spags and even with Sutton too, I wouldn't be surprised. But also too, that's why you need the veteran experience too, because you don't really have that like old leadership on there. Like, if I could think off the top of my head, like, it's Chris Jones, it's Frank Clark, and then you bring in James Bradberry, too. I think those would be your ones pushing 30, and then everyone else is, like, younger, which is also good because it lets you see a lot into the future, and that there's a lot of optimistic hopes there, and for a good potential good D, it'd be exciting to see. But we got to hold out hope for that. But Chiefs Kingdom, you already know what the question is going to be for today. Should Kansas City be interested in James Bradberry even after the draft of them drafting 3 cornerbacks? I say hell yeah. I mean, I think the duo with him and McDuffie would be great, and then you put Snead in the slot. Like, it's firepower all in the AFC West. How could you not say yes? You got to go up against Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr, and then you still got to go with the likes of like a Josh Allen too. So the AFC is loaded. You might as well stock up on cornerbacks, especially when your pass rush isn't the greatest. But that'll be for another video to talk about. I'm going to be signing off. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and you guys take care. Peace.